So the story goes like this. I was with my daughter, and she was a student here locally, and she said to me earlier in the day, "Mom, they messed up my order at this local donut place. I'm not going to tell you which place it is. And I don't have a receipt because they didn't have receipts. And I really want to get my money back, and I was late for school, and I've had such a lousy day." And I said, "Well, just bring the bag with the food. We'll get your money back." She said, "All right." We drive up. We go to the drive-thru, and this girl says, "We're closed." I said, "Well, we have the food, and we just want to get her money back." "We're closed." And I said, "I just have this food, and I don't have a receipt." So the guy behind her said, "Thank you for not yelling. Our computers are down. It's been a really tough, long day. Of course I'll give you your money back. Would you like donuts?" And I said, No, those days are gone, but thank you." And he says, No, please take some donuts. You're just so nice." And I look at my daughter. She's like, "I don't want the donuts. You don't want the donuts." He said, "Please drive to the back of the store. I have to show you something." So I drive to the back. He opens the side door, and there is a cart with over 400 items. Bagels, donuts, croissants, everything. He says, "Please take some donuts or whatever you see here, because this is going into the trash." And I said, "Absolutely." So 4 or 5 days a week, I would drive up at closing. I would chat with the employees. I'd bring my daughters, and we would box up all these items, and I'd take them to different shelters around Orange County. Micah's Way, I think, is one nearby. But there's like 4 or 5 places I would go until he was no longer an employee. And it was amazing. It was amazing for me. It was amazing for the employees. And then the recipients, me packing my truck and showing up with boxes and boxes.
People often ask me, how are you a therapist that has mental health issues? And if you follow me, you might have seen a video I posted yesterday about this. I think that the reason that 2 million people follow me around the world is because 2 million people and more struggle. When I'm sitting in front of a client, I'm helping them with what I help myself with. I don't believe the therapists that act like everything's okay. And to be honest, I've never met a therapist that is okay. I really haven't. And I think that that's something that's really important for you all to realize. It does not matter what profession you want to go after. It does not matter if you don't want to go after a profession at all. What matters is that you learn about who you are and what you deserve.
Many of us get dealt a crappy hand, but life can still be magnificent and grand. It can be contentment and peace of mind. There is no need to compare. Normalcy doesn't exist. No one is normal. And having a mental illness does not invalidate your value as a human being, nor the importance of your life. We are not our illness. It is not our identity. It is a part of us, but it is just one part of us.
I remember the way Michael used to look at me, right? He was so excited. He was like, "I love you. I'm so lucky I found you. I love you so much," And then I saw the way I look at myself in the mirror, and I noticed, I feel like I am in an arranged marriage with you, and I'm making the best of it. With life, too. I feel like I'm in an arranged marriage with life that I can't leave, so I'm making the best of it. And so the art of being yay for me was a survival guide to get through life and still be happy in this environment that I do not love, in this body that I do not love. And so my next question, and I'm writing my next book around this, and I'm going to find an answer to that, and once I do, it's going to be amazing. How do I look in the mirror and go, Aidan, I'm so lucky to be you. I'm so happy that I get to live this life experience with you, Aidan. I'm so grateful. I love you for who you are. Your crazy energy, everything you've gone through. I'm so proud of you. I love you. I want to feel like that. I want to feel like that about life too. This life is up and down, it's crazy, but I'm so happy to be here. I think we are generally, especially if we were raised around trauma, we're conditioned to look for problems, right? Because that's how you survive. Like, oh, there's a bear coming, focus on the bear, right? That's survival. If everything's well, we get to relax and take everything in. So if we were raised around trauma, we're looking for issues. Whatever happened, we're looking for issues. So I think once we understand that, we can kind of take a lean back and go, let's take the whole picture in. Are we reacting off of our trained trauma, or are we reacting off of what's present now? Am I safe now? Am I well now? I think that's a really important thing to note, if that makes sense.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, so how can we practice more self-compassion to ourselves and be not so much a critic?
I'm trying to not give a therapist-y answer here. But I'm going to. Every client that I treat has a story that they've told themselves of what their life is supposed to look like. A lot like Crystal's story that she shared during her talk. Conceptually, we have an understanding, a personal understanding of what certain things mean in life. Success, love, worthiness, and normal. We fuel our lives and our choices through those concepts. We judge ourselves through those concepts. And something that you just said, Aidan, was when we are raised in trauma, we tend to look for problems. That's true, but also the human brain is designed to look for problems. So the problem isn't that we look for them, it's that we were forced to only look for them because of what it was that we went through, or what we're going through, or what is to come. So you're not normal for looking for problems. The problem may be your definition of normal, your definition of success, your definition of what it means for you to have made it in your life. And we critique our actions and our successes and our achievements based off of those definitions without understanding that we can change them. There is no set definition for any of those things, but we think that there are because we've lived so many years through those definitions to begin with. So we are our biggest critic because if you think about it, we care about ourselves the most, even if it doesn't feel like you do. If you are judging your actions and wishing you were better, it's because you care about yourself. It just may be very hard to see that through the pain that's causing you to feel that way in the first place. So how do we give ourselves more compassion? It doesn't have to look like butterflies and rainbows and self-hugs, and it can, that'd be beautiful and great, and I really haven't seen that be the path for many people with serious mental illness and really intense struggles, and that can be upsetting for most people on this path, but it's realistic. And so perhaps self-compassion looks like literally getting out a pen and just writing down what is my current definition of success and what can it be instead. That's compassionate. Releasing yourself from the chains of what you think you're supposed to be is compassion. And maybe looking at the dream that you have for yourself, sort of like Crystal did, sorry to call you out again, and changing that so you feel like you are farther along in life. I had no plans of having a big platform, getting a book deal, all this stuff. I didn't have those plans. I had a plan to hide myself my whole life, to be my biggest self-critic forever, and to never give myself compassion. And the moment that I started doing that, the things I never dreamed of, but let's admit we all would love, started happening. Because I gave compassion to myself and stopped being my biggest critic in the easiest way. It's not prove to myself for 5 years I can not have an episode, prove to myself for 3 years I can do X, Y, Z. It was prove to myself I can sit down and reconceptualize this word that is driving me crazy, that's making me feel like I'm not lovable because my definition of love is unreachable for me. You're allowed to change it. So sometimes compassion just looks like switching the way you view yourself in the world. And it may not even make you feel better in the beginning, but it's the path to feeling better.
Self-compassion, huh? That's something I struggle with on a daily basis, I think. I think it's so much easier for me to be that pillar of support for someone else, to give someone else a compliment, to give someone else, that boost of positivity and confidence. But when it comes to myself, I am self-critical, and that is something I'm still trying to learn not to be. I attended a support group, a bipolar support group, months ago. The first support group I ever attended that I wasn't forced to attend. And there was this one person who was talking about how she wasn't able to go on her prescribed walk that her therapist had, told her to go to do like on a daily basis. And she was so hard on herself for not mustering up what she said as strength to do that. And I just told her, I was like, don't be so hard on yourself. Don't kick yourself in the butt for not doing one thing. Take things one step at a time, because honestly, sometimes just getting out of bed every day is a success, is a sign of success. Just the little things. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out, I guess, for myself. But just take things one step at a time. Be kind to yourself. It's easier said than done, I know that. But don't punish yourself for the small things.
I didn't share too much of my own backstory because growing up, and Aidan, you made me think of this, I just kept quiet about a lot of things. But in the pandemic, I did mention I started seeing a therapist because I realized too many times I was saying to myself, I'm fine, I'm good, I got this. And there were so many things that I had to unpack because I realized it was affecting me as an adult and as a mom. And I got to a lot of the root of basically finding out. I mean, I knew my mom suffered with her mental health, found out she was bipolar. I had a lot of conversations with my stepdad, and just, again, the things that happen to you as a child, if you don't deal with them, they fester as a teenager. So whether it's sexual abuse, mental abuse, anything. And so it's so important to be kind to yourself wherever you are in your life and say, you know what, I'm doing okay, because we're so hard on ourselves. And I have a pattern of letting my conversations with my mother affect me, thinking, oh, I'm not this enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, and pushing through life to go out and, your view of success. Years ago, it was like, oh, I want to work for DreamWorks, so I landed an interview. It's like, excuse me, I hope nobody works at DreamWorks. Shit place to work. And then I wanted to interview somewhere else, and someone was bringing me in. They said, oh, this place will chew you up and spit you out. And I realized I was chasing a title because I wanted to feel better having a title, because these are the stories that you learn from adults. And so just taking a deep dive into anything that any of you are struggling with, and this has been so inspiring hearing all of you, because I'm used to just keeping it all inside. It's just so important to have some self-love, have some compassion and say, wow, wow, I've made it this far. And all of your stories are so powerful.